Well, you could say things are starting to heat up in the summer
Shut the
house.
fuck up, dude. You're such a dumbass. Yeah, they are starting to heat up. It's a weird summer, as Jesse Soloman said. It's kind of strange. I'm enjoying it.
Oh, we're enjoying it because when things get weird and it's not too cliquey, it's not too everybody split up, people are all dating in the house, and it just seems too cozy. When things get weird, I like to watch.
Oh, I agree. I think that's when summer is the hottest.
Yeah, summer's supposed to be weird.
I thought summer's supposed to be fun.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Summer Gooder. What's up, dude?
Getting close to summer ourselves.
Really, at all?
Could say.
Don't do that, because it's going to be nice
Daylight
next week.
savings.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's a big thing. It's going to help out all the farmers out there. Shout out to the farmers.
Yeah, always shout out to the farmers.
We
Thanks.
always do. We're a farmers-only podcast.
Yeah. Our new sponsor, farmersonly.com. Not really. That's a free ad, I guess.
Oh, God. Yeah, but look, I love Summer House. I like it when it's weird. We talked about it in the intro. I like it when things are, a little tense, but like these are two heavy hitters with Kyle and Paige going up against each other. They can both hold their own in very
Different
individualistic ways.
One being mature and a pragmatic approach, the other being an egotistical fuck you approach.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, those are the individual characteristics I was referring to. And that is fun to see because they have been at odds pretty much for like 5-6 years at this point.
It's been at bay because Amanda's in the middle of it. And they have such an interesting dynamic because of the Amanda part. Kyle and Paige, I would say they are friends, but it's always a high tension friendship
Right.
because of the outliers.
Right.
So it's very interesting.
It is very interesting. And it doesn't seem like you would think the husband of Amanda in this situation would be cognizant of keeping her happy, maybe not having her have to sit into the middle of it. But it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Paige is the one who's worried about Amanda's feelings and getting her in the middle of it. Kyle is only worried about himself.
Correct.
And there are some interesting points that he made this episode because we do remember, and I'm sure all of our listeners too do as well, from the summer when Kyle was on Watch What Happens Live talking about the whole seltzer thing with Craig. There's some things that don't really add up.
The old Spritz mishap.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. And the funny thing about Kyle is he could make a really good point, but he makes the really good point sound fucking awful.
Yes.
That you do on some like sub level, you do agree with him, but you'll never outwardly say, "Oh yeah, that's a good point, Kyle."
It's like, yeah.
because of the way he does it. It's like you're such an asshole that even when you make a good point that I agree with, I can't tell you that I agree with you.
Yeah, he made a few, and I'm like, you're right, but the way you do it is rude.
Yeah.
Like, just talk. We'll get there, and I wrote things down that he should have said instead.
Well, that's
I was
funny
like,
too
this
because
is
Paige
crazy.
even had that when she was in bed afterwards. She's like,
Yeah.
"Craig said something really good that I can use." It's like,
Yeah.
well, not anymore. You can't use it, but yeah,
Oof.
if it comes back up. No, I didn't mean because they broke up.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, no. I meant like it's those shower thoughts after you have a big fight. You're
Sure,
like, fuck,
sure.
I should have said that. That's
Absolutely.
what she had. I'm like, you can't use it anymore. But then immediately I'm like, yeah, you might actually be able to use it again because Kyle's probably not done.
He's clearly not done. Not
Yeah.
given the way he woke up.
No.
We'll see what happens.
Woke
at
up, he
the
never
beach.
went to sleep. The poor guy didn't fall asleep.
Oh, I got my own thing.
He had heart palpitations.
Stop it. Let's get into it. We get poolside, and Bailey's not here, having trouble with the boyfriend or with production.
That is going. I truly hope, and we're gonna keep an eye on this. I hope that's the last mention of her.
I think it's gonna be.
I think it's just, and like we have to make something up here. Lexi, why don't you just say that she's got trouble with the boyfriend or something?
Great.
Cool. The last time that we spoke about this quote unquote boyfriend, it was about luggage with an air tag. She was borrowing it. She didn't have a boyfriend. She's got a situationship. Now we're just like, yeah, full blown boyfriend
problem.
issues. She's not here this weekend.
She was talking shit about the
Sure,
show and
yeah.
spilling secrets.
She's
so
having boyfriend
gone.
issues, so she's not coming to the Hamptons to let off steam.
Right.
Cool.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to hear about her again. I don't think we're going to see her again, but this is probably when she got the boot. But we're going to do a little gender reveal scavenger hunt. And when I said summer's getting weird, this might be the weirdest summer in the summer house, only
sure.
because of the dynamic setup with the Lindsay and Carl stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this right now before we get into anything else. The way these two are handling this is very impressive on both
Incredibly
sides.
impressive.
I think Carl's doing a fantastic job of being supportive and not making it weird. I think Lindsay's doing a fantastic job of not making him too uncomfortable with some weird things. It's impressive.
I can see it going a certain way, though, and you'll probably agree with this. The way that I think Lindsay's handling it is sort of ignoring it, but like just kind of being pleasant.
Yes.
The way that Carl's handling it is, all right, we kind of got through that first meeting. Now we're doing all this. This is super weird. But when he's going through this scavenger hunt, he was a little giddy, like excited to do all of this.
I think it's the
And he was even doing things like, oh, I remember that. Like, yeah, Lindsay went out to the gate. And he's starting to say things. He's starting to be vocal about his dealings with Lindsay, if you will.
okay.
I think because Lindsay is being cordial and she's being pleasant enough, and we have a little exchange a little bit later about some NA champagne, which was nice. I think Carl's going to think that things are really good, and he's going to make a comment, and Lindsay's going to be like, dude, back off.
I don't think so.
You don't
'Cause
think
if you
so?
look back, like she's still friends with Everett. She's still friends with a lot
Yeah.
of dudes in her life that she dated, and it's just Everett went to her wedding.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm just waiting for something to happen.
don't think
But I'm
it's
like,
going to.
that was, yeah, then that might not happen. Maybe it's just like, this is such a weird situation that something's got to be weird enough that gets these.
or she
two,
went to
like-
Everett's wedding. I guess she's not married.
Yeah.
I think she went to Everett's wedding.
But like it would have to get to a point where like something's gonna happen where one of them is gonna say something wrong and it's gonna upset the other person because that is normal to me. That's like,
Sure.
all right, yeah, you guys are getting a little too
It's
close.
not a
for
normal
comfort here.
summer.
It's not a normal summer. So I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop, and it may never drop.
Do you know what I'm waiting for?
What?
I'm waiting for a conversation where it's like, I am happy. Like an actual real let the walls down for 4
I
minutes
don't know if that's gonna happen.
where I could, the way that it's trending right now, I'm not saying
think
it's
he
like a
has to.
guarantee.
I don't think either of them have
I don't
to,
think
yeah.
they owe it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that. I think that at some point this summer, you can clock this, could be wrong. I think because they're on this path and it seems to be nice and they used to be best friends, they were best friends before they dated, after they dated, and then they dated again. I could see there being a moment where it's just those two and there is like, it's so fast, but it's
Yeah.
like actual, I'm happy for you. Thank you. That means a lot. Like maybe even a hug, and then everything is fine forever between them and they just go their separate ways. Like I would not be shocked if we have that moment at some point this summer. Wait a minute. Because she
When's
did just take a
Lindsay-
shot at him
Lindsay's
on
4 months pregnant in July. It's so the baby's born.
the baby's born. I take that
Reunion
back
then,
because
maybe.
after the Watch What Happens live appearance of Carl, where she was like, I thought you would be over this by or something, whatever, when she took that
Yeah,
shot.
that's true. I was thinking like reunion, the baby's born. We're gonna get like an actual nice moment between them where he like congratulates
I'm
her.
skeptical now because of the recent.
Yeah, I
Watch
think
What
that
Happens
could
live
just kind
appearance.
of like go away though pretty quickly.
Look, I wouldn't be
Who knows? Wait,
surprised.
we don't know what the hell's going on, and like we're trying to wrap our heads around it, and we just can't.
I don't think anybody can because
No.
it's a strange situation, but it cracks me up. Two things. One, Carl arguably wins the scavenger hunt because of his knowledge of
Yeah.
years past.
Yeah.
Like it was so he's like, oh yeah, like he's the one that goes to the box. He's the
Right.
one that finds all this shit. It was really funny in a very weird way. But it's also interesting to me that like Danielle continues to call out things about Lindsay. Like you're supposed to be getting this friendship back together. She goes, it would be nice if like the baby daddy was coming, but instead you have your ex fiance here. Like that's weird. I was like,
Yeah,
just let it lie, maybe. Just let it lay. Like
look, if she's just gonna do it, she's gonna do it.
that's a good.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at least she's not doing it out in the open. Doing it in confessionals is
That's a
one
good
thing. Like,
point.
worry for her personally with her friendship with Lindsay, sure. Worry about the show standpoint, no. We've done enough worrying about like
You're right.
the vibe in the house. At this point, I'm like, you
Fuck
know
it.
what? Do whatever you want in the confessionals.
Yeah, who gives a shit? But Kyle and Carl have a quick chit chat, and I agree. I think this weird summer for Carl is actually helping him. I
Yeah.
think this will help him move past it faster. I mean, obviously Lindsay is past it, but it's almost forcing the issue. Like, yeah, you're taking part in the scavenger hunt, you're taking part in the gender reveal. There's a big like celebration dinner tonight. I think it's just forcing it to the forefront. So you
Right.
have to deal with it. I think that it's probably cathartic in a lot of ways.
It probably is because he's forced to do it.
He's forced to deal with it. Yeah.
Like if he wasn't, then he would have left. Or if he
Right.
felt some type of way, he would have been like, yeah, maybe I'll sit this one out.
Right.
But then you make it about yourself. And I don't think
That's a bad
Carl
look.
wants to do that right now.
I think he's handling it really well.
I think something that Carl said during this episode, and I think it was like right around here, maybe a little bit later, when he goes to his confessional, he talks about like how crazy last summer was and how wild it was for him to go through all of that and how much he just wants to have a relaxing summer and just kind of get back to the normal, whatever normal looks like for him now. I think that is where he is, and he's going to push himself through those awkward moments so that he can get to normalcy.
Yeah.
Because he knows that there's going to be plenty of awkward moments when it comes to Lindsay living there. It's a very weird situation. I think he realizes if he just pushes himself through like an event like this, he'll be a lot better on the other side.
It's going to be interesting to watch the whole summer shakeout, but Kyle brings up the Spritz thing and brings up the fact that Hannah's now talking shit again about Kyle being the reason she was fired. You can obviously speak more to that. You were in tune with Summer House before I was. I wasn't there for all of that stuff, but
Kyle, I love the flashback, dude.
Oh, I did enjoy the flashbacks.
The flashback to like Hannah sitting there, and then you get a look over at Luke, who's wearing like some weird like cut off hoodie with like glasses on. It's like, oh yeah, there's Luke.
I forgot about Luke until they showed that, and then I had one Hannah Burner season, but I think it might have been Winter House. She was
you had a Winter House
with the
Hannah,
gray hair. Yeah, so that's the only experience I had with her. But Kyle's stuck on this shit where he's like, I need to know where Paige stands.
Yeah,
and he tells Carl, he's like, I rage texted her, and he's like, well, like, is she cool? He's like, it is what it is. It's like, it's not. No. You can fix this. It's very fixable. That's
also the rage text did not say to me, I need to know where you stand.
No. Because if you
said I blame you for all this shit,
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because I have things. I have things I want to say about it, and I don't want to jump the gun. But we get the dinner set up here, and we get a little private chef action. Love that. A little shout out to him. And speaking of private, Turner, extremely. The only thing that we've seen of Turner is his hands. I'm sure there's pictures out there now.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just the hands.
I don't care enough.
I don't really care either. Yeah. Like, it doesn't bother me that I haven't seen him.
What's that going to do for me? See what he looks like?
Yeah, it's that's Turner. I have
an idea. That's not for me.
I do too. But that's the only reason I want to know is, like, am I right or am I wrong? We were, by the way, on the nose about producer Jeremiah.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Good.
Like, literally
good
to the T.
Hell yeah.
He nailed it. So I'm proud of that. But that is the moment where the NA Champs comes out for Carl. And she's like, I got a bottle of champagne in there if you'd like it. He's like, NA? She's like, yep. He's like, thank you. She's like, you're welcome. That's all we need.
Yep.
It was beautiful.
It's a nice exchange.
It was so sweet. I was like, oh, you guys. West, Ciara, take a note.
I know. And again, I just hope that Carl's taking it in stride and just saying, wow, this is really nice.
It's enough.
Not like wow, I can do whatever I want and just relax.
I don't think that's the vibe.
I hope not.
I don't think he's that dumb.
Don't cross the line and like make a joke about your relationship or anything.
Think he's going to.
I don't think he is either. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
You just want it to happen.
I kind of want it to happen.
It's a different thing entirely. But we get to Danielle and Jesse, and it seems to be setting in a little bit on young Jesse Soloman. Mm-hmm. What this situationship he's got with Lexi is actually turning into. I think he's starting to feel the pressure a little bit. We find out later that he went out with Lexi and her parents.
It's a weird situation, but it's a full-blown relationship.
It's a relationship. Yeah. It's 100% a relationship. Yeah. But, Danielle points out, I touched your shoulders outside. And then I was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't do that because of Lexi. And he's like, if that's not okay, I'm in serious trouble. And by the way, that might not be okay. Yeah. Like, I might be in serious trouble. I appreciated the confessional. Okay, but again, this is a confessional after the fact where he's like, I'm willing to change a little bit for Lexi, but I'm not going to change who I am entirely for somebody I just met. Fair.
Yep.
The way that you've handled it thus far, not totally fair.
You are changing your way.
You jumped right in. Like you didn't slow it down that first weekend. You actually expedited things by agreeing to meet her parents. At no point have you given her an indication that you want to slow down. I don't think it's too late. Like, I think if he addresses the issue now, it's like, all right, it's only been a couple of weeks. It's not like you guys are...
Yeah, I think that's the thing that tends to happen, especially on a show like this where we're watching week to week, but it's, it is week to week, but there are some weekends that end up being 2 episodes. It's only 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it is fucking bizarre that he's met her parents, that he went out clubbing with her parents. Sounds kind of fun, but still bizarre.
He had some missteps. He definitely took
missteps
and red
in
flags.
But you can still have that discussion because it's only been 2 weekends.
Correct.
And it's only been 10, 11 days, whatever it's been. You can still sit down and be like, look, we're moving too fast. Let's try to figure this out right now. Are we going for this? Are we going for that? Are we going just full blown in? Because I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
That's a fair conversation to have, even after meeting your parents, which is a bizarre situation.
But it has to happen this weekend.
Yes.
You cannot wait another week.
Or within the week in New York. You can do it then.
Yes.
Before you get back to Summer House next weekend.
Correct.
You have to have that convo.
Especially because you brought it up. So now you have to address the issue. So I don't know. I'm very, very much looking forward to that conversation in a fucked up way. But we get to dinner, and Kyle's trying to force the issue on Paige. He's like, Paige, what do you think the baby's name should be? Paige, what do you think the baby's name should be? Like, he won't leave it the fuck alone. And that's kind of his issue in a lot of ways. It's like, you know, you're not cool right now because of the text you sent her. Don't force the issue at the dinner table when you haven't talked to her
When you
yet.
wouldn't do that anyway.
Correct.
Even if you didn't send her those text messages and you guys were all cool, you wouldn't yell at her from across the dinner table and ask her a question like that.
No, because that's weird.
You just want her to talk to you. You're forcing her in a big environment to address you because she hasn't addressed you yet, and you feel guilty about it, maybe.
But don't worry, because
That's what that feeling is.
he ruffled the feathers of Paige, and she's not going to take it sitting down. Like, she's going to stand up for herself, and she's going to do a good job of it. So I'm looking forward to it. And this is where we find out that Jesse went clubbing with Lexi's parents. I feel, some type of way about. I don't think it's wrong to go clubbing with your parents.
No, not at all.
I think it's strange that Jesse's there.
Sure.
It's just the whole thing's moving. It's giving me anxiety.
I would feel differently if they didn't have the meet, sit down, flower exchange with the mom beforehand. If he was like, hey, what are you up to tonight? And she's like, oh, I'm going out with my sister and my parents. We're actually going to a club tonight. It's going to be kind of fun.
That's casual.
And he popped in.
That's casual.
That's very casual.
Super
like, hey,
cash.
yeah, I know your daughter. Like, we're on a TV show together.
Totally.
It's kind of fun. Leave it at that.
That's a friendly
That's
interaction.
a very friendly little just pop in. By the way, if Lexi wants to tell her parents, like, hey, yeah, I'm kind of into this guy, that's on her. She's allowed to do that. Jesse, you can stay the fuck out of that.
Correct.
But the whole meeting happened before it, so it provides different context.
1,000%.
That makes it even weirder.
I agree. But Danielle brings up, she's like, are you guys exclusive? And he's like, Danielle, you're so silly. We'll have that conversation. We'll get back to you guys. And then nobody's talking. So Paige calls out Kyle. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, bring it up in front of everybody. Put him through the ringer, Paige. And she brings it up. He goes, you had a lot to say. Why don't you talk? And he's like, oh, so you're mad? It's like, what do you think, dickhead? Like, of course she's mad because you sent her a fucking rage text that somehow she's in the middle of this whole thing, but she didn't fucking say anything. So you're claiming to her that she's in the middle of it. If anything else is not true, the one thing that rings true for Paige for her entire tenure on this show is maintaining relationships despite fucked up relationships on the side.
Yep.
She has not let Hannah Burner fuck up her friendship with Amanda and vice versa. She has not let you fuck up her friendship with Amanda, though you've tried so many times. This is what she's really good at, is compartmentalizing and being a good friend to people. Like, you cannot deny that she's ride or die for her peeps. So this is a crazy thing to try to stick her in the middle of it when she didn't say anything. Hannah went on a podcast and dragged you. Craig did this whole thing with Spritz. She is not like telling them to do this. And the fact that he needs this validation from her of where do you stand? All she's going to say is, it's none of my fucking business, dude. I'm not involved. So
Everything that Paige said in this situation from start to finish made sense to everybody.
Yep.
Or logically speaking, it made a lot of sense to anybody who has ever been in this situation, or even if you haven't, it's how you would act in this situation. She's going through a situation where she doesn't like, and we've watched her for years dealing with Kyle and Amanda, still being friends with Amanda, but not calling Kyle out for his shitty behavior towards Amanda, towards other women in the house, towards other people in the house, to Paige directly. She doesn't call her out because she doesn't want to put her friend Amanda in the situation.
correct.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Kyle can't see this, and the only thing that I can think is he's not going to go after Hannah directly because he doesn't want that smoke, and he knows that if he texts
He
her
doesn't
or
want the
messages her,
backlash on social.
the backlash, yeah. And I think there is a component which he brings up about how it's destroying his business in Loverboy.
And that's fucked up.
And like, yeah, sure, that's going to happen when you're an asshole. When the person who's the face of Loverboy is routinely an asshole to his wife and to other people on the show, people who invest in your product, people who drink your product are going to look at that negatively. That's just what happens. Whatever. Take a page out of Craig's book. You don't want to be doing stuff like that while you're running a business because it's a bad look. But he's not going to text Craig. I think the only reason he's not going to text Craig is because he's afraid of him.
Oh, you think?
I think he's scared of Craig.
Interesting.
Yeah, not in like a business way. I think physically, I think he's just scared of Craig.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting,
But
interesting
that's the other thing. You have an issue with Craig directly.
Text him.
Text him. Why are you
Anna.
texting his girlfriend? That's
have
a
no idea.
bitch move.
I have
That's
no
a
clue.
huge bitch move.
If you
And
had
that
an
is
issue
not,
with me and texted Dev, I would drive to your apartment.
Yeah. Do you believe what your husband did? He's such an asshole. That would be ridiculous.
Fuck.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous. So the fact that he's not texting Craig directly, and you can say, oh, he doesn't have a relationship or a friendship with Craig, so he's not like that. He's got a problem with Craig. Talk to him directly. That's how it works. Don't berate his girlfriend who has only ever supported your wife and stayed out of
And your
everything
product.
else. Yeah, and your product, and stayed out of everything else for your reasons so that she's not ruffling your feathers. Like, he just doesn't see any of that. So it doesn't make any sense to me that he's not just going right to Craig unless he's afraid of him.
Interesting premise. I'm not sold, but I could see it. My one thing, I'm going to play devil's advocate now, because when he starts talking, the reason that my ears perked up a little bit is because Amanda was vouching for some of the things that he said.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what you were talking about, where it's like he makes good points, but because of the way he goes about it, it's hard to agree with him. As he's running through the whole Spritz thing, okay, he says that at one point when Craig approached him, he said to Craig, give me a sec, let me see what I can come up with, and I'll get back to you. The next day, Craig had invested with Spritz. So Amanda pointed out that this whole thing has really fucked with the business. And if you look at when this all happened, Spritz really took advantage of this, and Spritz went on the offensive to try to drum up more press for them, more sales for them. Loverboy took a big dip during this whole thing.
You know why it
Spritz
took a big dip?
What's up?
Because Kyle went on Watch What Happens Live and bitched about
Bitched
it.
about it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, okay? Here's my devil's advocate part. Some of the things he was saying, given Craig's behavior over the past year or so, were some things that he said and also his behavior in the past, he doesn't blatantly lie about things, but he seems to tiptoe around things sometimes. So is it possible? I'm not saying Kyle did himself any favors by airing this shit out on Watch What Happens Live.
Right.
If you wanted to deal with this the appropriate way, you would have talked to Craig once again. But is there some truth to what he's saying?
Yeah, there's definitely some truth to what he's saying. I think that the most realistic way that it probably went down, Craig reached out to Kyle to say, hey, I was approached by, I think the Spritz is owned by, you probably even followed him on Instagram, the boy with no job, girl with no job.
It's the
both
toast.
of them. Yeah.
It's
So
morning toast.
So they probably reached out to Craig and said, hey, are you interested in investing with us? Maybe he has a relationship with them that's pre-existing. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know that much. His response was, yeah, let me just talk to Kyle because, like, I don't want to mess anything up over there because we do have the Bravo relationship and Paige is friends with Amanda, whatever. But I don't think that he reached out and said to Kyle, hey, I'm thinking of investing with this company, but I wanted to check with you first to invest with you. I don't think that he ever wanted to invest in Loverboy. I don't think that that was ever an existing
He was
plan
using
of
the
his.
Spritz thing to act like he wanted to invest in it. And then when Kyle...
I don't think that he even indicated that he wanted to.
Well, then why would Kyle say that he came to me for an invest? Because this is something
I bet that
well,
he...
Craig has corroborated the fact that he
Yeah.
tried to invest with Loverboy.
Yeah,
And he
okay.
said that Kyle told him that you can't invest in Loverboy. Meanwhile, Kyle's now saying, I told him to, like, just hang
He
on
said
for
it's
a
the
sec.
same thing that I've told, but like, and then this doesn't add up either because he said, yeah, I wanted to get like a whole investment thing together for him to figure it out. But then he looks at everybody else and they're like, yeah, how much is it to invest in Loverboy? He goes, oh, it's the same as it's
No, he
always
says,
been.
what's
25K.
the minimum to
Yeah.
invest?
I agree, but I get that. But he could have had the wheels in motion. I don't know who's at fault here. He could have easily had the wheels in motion. He could have said, yeah, here's the minimum. Let me know what you're looking to invest and I'll let you know. It just seems like they were missing each other. But I could see a world in which maybe years ago, Craig asked if he could invest. Kyle said no. Craig got spurned and didn't want to invest in Loverboy anymore, but
Perhaps.
still gave him the courtesy text of, hey, I was reached out to by this new company to invest with them. Just wanted to let you know because I'm considering it. And Kyle took that as a, oh, well, let me get an investment catalog together for you so you can invest with Loverboy. Now, all of a sudden, he can invest with Loverboy. And Craig's like, I already asked you a couple years ago. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go with them anyway.
Okay, maybe.
I gave you a heads up.
One more theory, and then we can move on from this, because let's go under the idea that Craig is not
Lying.
telling the truth.
Yeah.
His big statement was, Kyle said that you cannot, like, people can't invest in Loverboy. In this moment, it's very clear that Danielle's investing in Loverboy because he says 25,000. Like, it's always been. Danielle's like, So clearly she's put some money into it. And he has a response because I thought that that's what Ciara was doing. It's like, oh, so we can all invest in Loverboy, like trying to throw a shot. And he's like,
Right.
yeah. Like, oh, what's the minimum?
Right.
25K. It's like, oh,
So you think Craig is lying
I'm
about...
saying maybe Craig did approach him, can I invest?
Yeah.
Knowing or thinking that he would maybe say no or something like that. He had the deal with Spritz ready to go. He had approached Kyle about it. Kyle said, give me a sec. And he was like, shit. And just invested with Spritz anyway, thinking that, okay, I'd given Kyle a heads up, so we're cool. That, to me, sounds like something Craig might do. That's all I'm saying.
It definitely does. And if you think about the inner workings of his relationship and how things have been going, especially at this point when it comes to Paige, look at the Austin relationship. He's not really friends with Austin right now, and Paige is saying, yeah, why would you want to be friends with Austin? It's probably similar when it comes to Kyle. If those two are having a conversation behind closed doors, I imagine that Paige is ripping on Kyle.
By the way, not blaming Paige.
Yeah, no, not blaming Paige. But like, I imagine that a conversation with them would go, hey, thinking of investing in Loverboy, and Paige said, fuck no. Why would you? Why do you want to be in business with Kyle?
Perhaps.
Try to make sure that you're out of that, because you don't want to have skin in the game with somebody like Kyle, because he could get mad at me and then fuck your investment.
Correct. Yeah, I think, look, that's the interesting, that's why I like this episode a lot when they brought this up, because I was like, ooh, he and Amanda are making valid points. And for the first time, I'd listened to his side of this argument because I've been so stuck on the Spritz side of things.
Well, Steele and I are also going to reach out to Kyle to invest in Loverboy.
Yeah, that's what Shooter posited that before the podcast started. So maybe we'll be...
That would be a funny investment.
It would, until it tanks and we fucking lose 25K, but whatever. But like...
Money well spent.
My whole view of the whole thing didn't shift necessarily, but it definitely gave me like reason to pause and be like, ooh, I don't know if we have the full story here. Because things have definitely shifted a little bit. And do I feel for Kyle? Not really. Do I feel for Amanda? Yeah, 100%. She's like, dude, I get messages like, this is fucking with our brand. This is fucking with our money. It's fucking with our life. So for her, I feel bad.
Right.
Again, to your point.
Amanda's always defended him, though. Even when he's like a complete dick.
She always
like, she's a good wife.
She's a great wife.
He's not a great husband.
No,
she's
a terrible
great
husband.
wife.
She's a phenomenal wife.
So even when it comes down to Paige is the person that he's fighting with, she still does throw out a couple of like, yeah, no, this is true.
This is
what
real.
Kyle's saying is true. The way he's saying it is awful. But what he's saying is true at the base.
And that's the only reason that my ears perked up and I went, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe there's more to this story than we got. And again, like you said,
it's a Bravo show. Produce some receipts. Where are those text messages or emails?
I would love to see receipts from this. And the other part of it is, you know, he does do, I'm sure that this damaged the brand, without a doubt. But he does damage himself without recognizing it throughout the summer by talking shit and doing stupid things.
I just thought about the relation or the conversation at the reunion, how that would go. Kyle would get a little too like egotistic and be like, see, told you about Craig to Paige.
Oh no, don't do that. She would fucking ruin him. She would, like, she's so much better.
I don't know what she would do. I know she's like much better. She wouldn't talk about it, but I don't know what she would do right now because there's a lot of weird shit going on with that.
Yeah, but you know, he just doesn't do himself any favors. He wants to be quote unquote friends with Paige, but then he ends this with like, you know, Craig's a fucking liar. And it's like, dude, are you trying to just like, this is the problem. He sees red and he says anything.
Yeah.
He just goes for the jugular and it's stupid. But the one little reprieve we got was like after the 25K thing, Wes is like, I can't afford that right now.
Yeah.
And he finally cracked Ciara. And I was like, oh, nature's
go.
healing. We're all getting back to normal amidst this disaster we're watching.
And that's, I feel like when Summer House is at its best is you could have two of the main players in this house get into a huge fight. If everybody else is just kind of like, oh, whatever. We're still gonna crack jokes. That's the best.
It's a perfect
dynamic.
It's the perfect mix of oh shit and haha.
Yeah.
And you know, he always does this where he tries to like pull on the sympathy card a little bit. He's like, I thought we were closer than this. And Paige's like, I thought we were closer than a fucking rage text, you asshole. Like, and Paige brings up that it once again has nothing to do with me. And now history is repeating itself. The players have changed, but the game is the exact same. Craig has taken the role of Hannah, and she's seen this whole thing happen, and I didn't even recognize how much this fucked her up from season 5 with the falling out of Hannah and Kyle and Amanda and her, and the fact that she still to this day is like, you know, I can't have a bachelorette party because I can't invite both of them. Like, both of them are my best friends. We have this montage of all of the moments they had
She's
together.
Not having a bachelorette party anyway.
Sick burn. Got him. No, but in this moment, she's getting up from the table and walking away, rightfully so. I mean, she said her piece. She's done a good job of maintaining neutrality, trying to get that through to Kyle's head, why she should not be in the middle of this. She even brings Amanda into it, not in a bad way, but to say, like, I'm trying my best here to maintain my friendships despite you continuing to try to flame them. Please shut the fuck up. If you have a problem with them, go talk to them. This has nothing to do with me. And all he wants her to do is pick a side. And Ciara points out, like, why did you have to accuse her that she thinks like Hannah or whatever the fuck he said?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, does she? Because I think she's being two-faced. And somebody made an edit on Instagram of this clip, and it was like she's walking in, and it's like, whoop, like they added a sound effect of her like turning heel and going back outside. She's like two-faced, and like really tears into him, and it was fucking awesome because she's like, if you want to call me two-faced, I maintain friendships because of all this bullshit going on. I was mature about it and took myself out of it because I didn't want to lose my friends. You're being two-faced because you rage text me like a bitch. And then when we sit down at the table, you're going to sit there like nothing fucking happened. And you're going to ask me like, oh, so you're mad? That's being two-faced, Kyle. She's been on the up and up. And like the one thing you can say about Paige is she has never been two-faced. I've never seen her two-faced. She's always exactly what she says is exactly what she means. And that's always who she is. It's one of her very redeeming qualities. So for him to take this stance, I think she's being two-faced. Why? Because you need the validation of her saying, you're right, Kyle.
Yes.
I don't agree with Hannah.
He does.
But that's bullshit because if they had an actual conversation, and this is what I was saving, it's like if he approached this as a friend that he claims to be. Hey, Paige, I saw Hannah was saying some things. I know this is awkward given our history. I feel uncomfortable and I want to make sure that, I want to know where you stand with this whole thing because I don't want you to think ill of me. I don't believe this to be true, whatever. Like, approach her as a friend and have a conversation. Hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. You're my friend. I want to make sure we're cool. That's so easy to do instead of picking up your phone like a fucking 15-year-old and firing off a rage text back to back to back to back because you're mad, once again, not at her, but her boyfriend and her business partner.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. When you could have said a million things calmly to your friend. Hey, what's going on with me and Craig kind of sucks, man. I don't want this to come between us, but I want you to know my side of things. And then he can tell her calmly. Like, there's so many ways to go about
Kyle
it.
doesn't do anything calmly.
No, but that's not
the
an
problem.
excuse.
And like, it starts at the rage text. Obviously, if we keep it on the rage text, it's not like he's ever going to apologize for it.
Yep.
And I think that Paige realized that halfway through because you can't just keep it about the rage text. Like, why the fuck did you rage text me? That's a normal thing to ask somebody who sends a rage text.
Mm-hmm.
Say, what the fuck was that? And if they apologize for rage texting, then you move on to other things and other topics and whatever. But he's not going to apologize for it. This is just an activity for Kyle to get everybody else on his side.
Mm-hmm.
To say, yes, you were justified to get mad at Paige for that, which nobody's going to say.
No.
Because he's not justified to get mad at Paige
At
for
all.
that. If he rage texted Craig, if he rage messaged Hannah, that's a different story. Those are people that you're actually accusing of things. You rage text Hannah, yeah, she's gonna screenshot it and put it all over Giggly Squad, and she's gonna put it on all the podcasts and all the like Page 6 is gonna.
Nobody's gonna buy Loverboy.
And nobody's gonna buy Loverboy. So yeah, good move not doing that, I guess. But if you rage text
Really,
Craig,
because you rage text Paige, and this is also
this
going
is
to
on
do
TV.
the same thing.
Yeah, so like just say you're sorry for rage texting, and that's just who I am because I'm nuts and I can't stop. Okay, we know that. You still have to apologize and then take everything that you said back. But still, like, what is Amanda there for? We talked about this last week. Verbally rage at Amanda about Paige, about Craig, about Hannah, and she'll try to calm you down. That's what she signed up for. She's your wife. She's gonna have to deal with that shit. She knows what she's getting into.
I don't think that's her job.
It's not her job, but like she knew who he was before she married him.
I mean, yeah.
You have to put up with this shit if you want to stay with him. Fine. Let her be the soundboard. Go off on her. Calm yourself down.
Don't go off on her. That doesn't sound nice.
It doesn't sound nice, but that is their marriage.
Just vent. Have a vent session with your partner.
Fine. Vent sesh. Soundboard also works. It's fine. But
a soundboard's fine. I said go off is not fine.
Yeah, whatever. But still, that's what she signed up for. Just do that because you know what? She'd probably appreciate that, especially if you broke it down and like she was upset. She would appreciate the fact that you decided, hey, I really wanted to rage text Paige, but instead I sat down with you and told you all about what I was going to say. And I didn't rage text Paige. I texted her and said, hey, can we have a chat? I think that's a good situation.
By the way, he definitely raged at Amanda before sending the rage.
He did all of those things. That's the problem. We can see that. It's clear as day the way that he handles this, not apologizing, feeling no remorse, still feeling that he's justified in all of his
He's
actions.
the victim.
And we're still sitting here like, yeah, there are some things, there's some inconsistencies with what Craig was saying. You might be right about this, but because you're being such an asshole, we're not going to say that you're right.
No, and it's also not going to end up in your favor, regardless of if you are right, because of how you just treated Paige. Like, it's a lose-lose for him, but he still can't see that, and that's what Amanda sees every time he does this. She's like, he gets too hot. I can't calm him down. He goes off, wanders around, motherfucks everybody, cries in the car.
He throws in I'm going to go cry in my car for real and go home this time.
Yeah,
Like, sick,
whatever, dude. It's a fucking good burn. But, like, you get Paige and Ciara talking in their room after all of this, and I mean, Paige is in tatters at this moment. Like, we don't see Paige cry. No. And Paige is crying. She's upset. She's talking about the Bachelorette like we talked about. And she's like, the one thing I am is a good friend, and I work so hard to maintain this relationship with Amanda and Hannah, make sure they're both okay. And let's not forget, Giggly Squad is massively successful. Mm-hmm. They are extremely successful. And 2 months out of the year, she doesn't say a fucking word about it. The only thing that we ever get from Paige to reference Giggly Squad is sometimes she wears the merch.
Yeah.
That is, like, I can't even imagine not talking about, like, our podcast for 2 months. But she doesn't do it. Like, that's really impressive. And she does that, why? To maintain calm in the house, because she's a grown-up. But Kyle can't go 5 seconds without mentioning Loverboy or having it on screen, using Summer House as his platform to sell Loverboy, which, of course, a lot of Bravo Lebs use these shows to promote their products. I'm not knocking that. But this show has become more or less a commercial for your product. And Paige, who has a podcast that is much more successful than your drink, doesn't say shit. And the best line still is, I'm going to buy it and sell it, which she said last week. I'm like, fuck yeah, you probably could, honestly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all of the hats off to her with maintaining her composure the way she did.
Did you almost take your hat off?
I literally almost did.
Gesture towards her, yeah.
Hats off.
Wow.
Yeah, well, it's
true hats off.
It's impressive because, like, she's dealing with all this shit. She still has to deal with the fallout after the fact. She's going to have to talk to Craig. She's going to have to talk to Hannah. That's the stuff that Kyle doesn't recognize. Is like, this has a ripple effect because now there's more people involved.
Well, you would think that he would understand that it's going to have a ripple effect that's immediately going to come after his wife.
Right.
So, like, yeah, you want to go storm around and have Carl try to calm you down. Your wife is upstairs in the shower crying.
Literally. Without the water on, she's sitting in the fucking shower.
She didn't do anything.
Zero.
She didn't do, neither did Paige.
Correct.
Neither of these two people who were now extremely affected by your words and actions did anything to actually harm you.
And you still think you're the victim.
You still are going to try to convince us that you're the right person.
You've been slighted somehow.
Yeah.
It's so fucking nuts to me. But Jesse and West have a quick little chit chat, and it's like, hey, Ciara was laughing. Hell yeah, brother. And it's a step in the right direction, and that's all we need to see, because when there's drama like this in the house, and this is probably going to continue on because I know Craig makes an appearance at the house, so we're not done with this yet. We don't need too much other stuff. We need one main thing going on and then some fun. You know, There's fun trickled in around. So the fact that everyone's getting along outside of this is a very positive thing. But Kyle goes to talk to Amanda, and again, he's taking the approach of, these lies almost ruined our marriage multiple times. Like, we almost, and then it's like dead silence. I don't know if he almost said, like, we almost got divorced over this.
Yeah.
But the whole point, dude, is you're the cause. And then you walk in there and you say that the lies are the problem. You handling it this way is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And Amanda goes upstairs to the girls' room. I thought she cold-shouldered Lexi a little bit, which I was like, that's kind of mean.
Yeah, Lexi was just being nice.
Like, hey,
it is also like, we've known you for a week.
Yeah, but also like,
too much.
Don't leave people out. She's walking by. She's like, I'm just gonna go talk to the girls for a sec. Like, you're not one of them. You go downstairs.
Yeah, I mean, she could be in the room for that.
That's what I was just like. It's kind of a weird moment, but whatever. I mean, she's going through it, so I'm not gonna fault her for it. And Paige and Amanda like cry, hug, and they're like, I never want to fight with you, and I miss you and Hannah, and blah blah blah. Like, they're not fighting, which is a beautiful thing. Like, they're really not. They're just like having this moment where it's like,
unfortunately, they've been through it before,
multiple times, and there's one common denominator here every single time. But we're in the kitchen, And you got Imrul, who I think is great.
I still think he's great.
I think he's great.
I have no issues with him at all.
You got him and Lindsay and Danielle. They're talking like, it's like, so like you got done with Carl and then you dated this guy. She's like, no, I dated a lot of guys. He's like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That fun.
Feel that.
I resonate with that because she's like, I had a roster. He's like, I always have a roster. I'm in 3 entanglements at the moment. They're like
I
entanglements.
had 2 1-year relation or situationships going on.
Entanglements.
Yeah.
2 1-year entanglements at the same time.
It's like, wow, at the same time? Yeah, but like I'm not leading them on. That's not my vibe. I don't lead them on. I just let them know, very transparent. Yeah, relationships are not for me. Some people, look, hey, you want to be in a relationship? Great, but it's not really for me. And I let them know. Okay.
I appreciate
you, man.
Dude, I appreciate the fact that
I didn't even think, I thought that, honestly, they immediately called it out. They're like, there's a couple of red flags there. Like, you're a big walking red flag. He's like, whoa. I let them know. I don't lead anybody on. They're like, all right, maybe you're a burnt orange flag. It's like,
he sounds like a green
he
flag.
sounds like
to
a
me.
straight up green flag. Like, he's honest.
If
There's
it's
nothing wrong with this guy.
if it's not for the girl,
Yeah.
then okay, they walk away. But he's very, very much like, this is how I fuck, figuratively speaking. That was a weird way to say it.
Yeah, that was a weird way to say it. You don't even talk like that.
I never talk like that.
Yeah.
This is how I
Who are
get
you?
down. I don't know. This podcast.
Now this is
changing
getting
me.
weirder. Keep going. What's next?
This is how I operate.
Okay,
That's what
I thought Boogie was next. I was
This is
getting
how
really
I-
confused.
I don't even know what that
This is how I
means.
boogie.
I didn't mean it like that. Like if I meant like I fuck with you kind of deal, and it came out. This is how I fuck. I don't know.
This is how I operate.
Yeah.
This is how I tick.
I said operate. It just took me 5 minutes to get there after I said something strange. I don't ever talk
Get
like
down
that.
is now an all-time.
This is how I get down, maybe. But yeah, I think that's a green flag. He's just got a different
Yeah, I have
lifestyle.
no problems with
whatever.
him.
And I do very much appreciate West sneaking out of the house in his confessional, saying like, "Look, I know I'm allowed to do stuff, but I don't want to rub it in Ciara's face." Like, I like that. That's the right move by him. Don't call attention to it. It's not necessary. So
He did say he was going to his boy's house, which it's still unclear.
I believe he probably went to his boy's house, but I would imagine that there was women there.
Yeah.
He slept on the couch, quote unquote, not alone. So
Yeah.
he confirms it later after he gets called out for the whole thing. But I like that he's making the effort to not be an asshole about it.
But before we get back to the rest of the episode, real quick word here from our friends over at Wayfair. And look, it is tough to figure out what your style is. Maybe you just moved into a new space. You've a blank canvas just staring you back. No clue what you want to do with it. No clue what style you want to go for.
It sounds like you might have been through this recently.
I may have been through this recently. And the problem with that is every time that you plug a hole, you look around and you see another blank space just staring you. You see something on the floor and you're like, I don't really know if I want to do that. Maybe I want to go a little mid-century modern. I'm not really a farmhouse kind of guy, but if that's your vibe, you go for it. Wayfair has all of those things. They've got categories, filters that you can go through. Pick your vibe, pick your style. Everything's going to work out. I got a bunch of new art. You can go through and look at anything that you want to look at, whether it's furniture, little set pieces, little accent pieces, maybe an accent chair. That always gets the crowd going.
Look, we just had a baby, as you all know, and I had to put furniture in my baby's nursery. And where did we go? We went straight to Wayfair. Literally, I was like, we got to go to Wayfair. We need a bureau, we need a toy box, we need a changing table, and Wayfair had everything we need. And the best part about Wayfair, it arrives quickly, it's easy to put together, and I just trust them. They always deliver.
And you should head over to wayfair.com right now to find something that's just your style. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Now back to the episode.
We get to Jesse and Lexi. I was only thinking about you during all of this because I was like, I have a feeling Shooter fucking hates this.
Really rubbed me the wrong way.
But the fucking funniest part, they're trying to get the hot tub to work or whatever.
Oh,
and-
I thought we were starting off when West walks in and he's like, hey, you going out tonight?
oh yeah.
No, why would I want to go out? I got the best thing that I could look at all night right here.
That's the best answer. It's cute. They're cute. Hey,
Are they?
no, but like,
In a psychotic way. Yeah, they're.
you know, you guys rush this kind of way.
Yeah.
But as they're going out to the hot tub, it might be the funniest line I've ever heard, honestly. He's like, I think I only stayed home one night last summer, and that was because I was afraid I had cancer.
Yeah.
I laughed for like 30 seconds. And look, maybe there's your sign that this is a little bit too quick.
Well, look, I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, it depends on how he actually feels in the moment. Like when you see everybody else going, and it's not like everybody else was going out. It would have been a huge problem of mine if everybody else in the house was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get ready to go out," and they were like, we're gonna stay home tonight." I would be furious.
Yeah, I know you would.
I would be livid. But there's only like 3 people going out, so like it's not the end of the world.
Paige and Ciara are in bed again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they had a traumatic night.
Okay, fine.
So
I'll give him a pass
pass on that.
Okay,
I actually
fair.
didn't expect anybody to go out this night. I figured Imrul was going to go out though.
Imrul will go out every night, as he states.
He said that.
I'm
I
going
love
out
that.
every fucking night.
He's like,
It's
wait,
vacation."
I came to the Hamptons. Like, I'm going to be out every single night that I'm here.
Yeah, without a.
Lovely. Please do that.
That's the
If
goal.
you have any friends that can join the show? We need that. Anyway.
Oh man, that could turn into a very different show.
Yeah, it
If he
would.
brings his buddies that go to the sex parties with him,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to watch that show.
It might be too much. Just him by himself is fine. But yeah, it's a different type of vibe. It's just, in the back of your head, like they are moving way too fast. And if he's sitting here like, yeah, West is going out, but you know what? I'd rather be like genuinely, I'd rather be home and stay with Lexi. Fine.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Figure it out. This is your chance to get some more one-on-one time. You're trying to build at the same time. Like, yeah, you're fucking petrified that things are moving way too fast. But this is your opportunity to build a little bit, find out a little bit more, maybe see what the vibe is. Maybe you actually have an organic moment where you can talk about how fast you guys are moving and not in a joking way that you've been doing because you're just avoidant. Maybe you can sit there and have a real conversation. Like, where do we want this to go?
That's a good.
What's the outlook? And I don't. Maybe that's what he was thinking. Maybe it isn't what he was thinking.
It's not what he didn't bring it up. It's not
No,
what
he
was
didn't bring it up. So yeah, clearly it's not. That's a good moment to do it. Get the hot tub going. Is this thing hotter? Yeah, let's go take a look in here. Good time to do it. He didn't do any of that.
No, he didn't do anything. And, you can point to him being nervous to have the conversation. Again, I get to a point where I think about, and if you hear Scotty in the background, my daughter's having a very good time out in the living room. But if you think from Lexi's side of things, because look, do I think it's too fast? Yes. Are there cringy moments? Absolutely, without a doubt. But I do think about Lexi and I feel bad because she's been upfront about it. She's like, I am a jealous person. I do jump headfirst into things. I do want this to work out. I've introduced you to my parents. So I can't fault her for this because she, at the very least, is being upfront with it. Whereas Jesse has these reservations. And like I said, if he brings it up this weekend, or the following week before next weekend, I think that it's within the time frame of it being like, all right, you guys moved too quick. You slowed it down. You're good.
Well, it's just so funny because we've gotten through 4 episodes of this. And we're like, ugh, figure it out already.
Yeah, dude.
But it's been 7 or 8 days.
Yeah,
So
but like
it's
it's been 7 or 8 days of
love bombing.
extra fast forward.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair to her because at the
That's-
very least she has been honest.
Yeah, and there's something to say like she has been really upfront about how she is typically, and this is that, and whatever. Maybe Jesse's thinking, all right, maybe like we'll settle in at some point. It'll slow down a little bit, and we can finally figure out if there's something here because there is attraction, as he says a little bit later, and I do like her, and I want to see where it goes. But, and there's a huge button there.
Lots of butts.
Is this actually who she is? And it's like, yeah, she was very upfront. And people have a problem with that all the time. I feel like in relationships where it's like, yeah, this person is truly upfront with what they want. But, we'll see how it goes. It's like, no,
they told
why
you.
do you expect them to change if
I
this
don't
is
know.
who they're going to be? And I think that's what he thinks right now. He's like, yeah, it's been 7 or 8 days. It's a lot, but I think it'll like
Why
even
would
out
you
at some
think
point because he's a dude and he's an idiot.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, in general, it's like, it's
Oh,
always
yeah.
so funny to me, especially when we watch it on TV. It's like, she told you
Yeah.
black and white, this is me.
Yeah.
And now you're like, yeah, but it's like, no, bro. If you
You're
want to
gonna be
be with
engaged
her,
by the end of the summer and have a kid on the way.
that's my whole point. Like, she's
Yeah.
made it very clear. And I cannot fault her for that. I will not fault her for that.
No, never.
So it's interesting to watch this whole thing play out and like watching him kind of realize everything. And my only, like, I can't, and you know this, like, it's 2:19 a.m. Carl gets home and Lexi and Jesse are in bed. And he's like, I like your stinky breath. I was like, nope,
Yeah,
that's
no.
the line for me. Both of you go brush your teeth.
Yeah.
That's yucky. I don't like that. We've talked about this before, like morning kisses before people have brushed their teeth.
Yeah.
It's gross. Just brush your teeth and then get back in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we have to have stinky breath moments? Like, I don't like that. It makes me feel yucky. Like, brush your teeth.
I'm a big like once I brush my teeth, I'm not coming back to bed though.
That's another thing too. Once I'm up,
Start of my day,
Once
yeah.
I'm up, I'm up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get up, I'm out. But if that's your vibe, I just don't like. I don't know. That was
Yeah,
like
I didn't need to see that.
it's like,
Like, I know what you're doing.
I know what you're
producers and
doing,
editors.
but gross.
Stop.
I don't like it. But West is MIA for the entire evening, and the morning rolls around. West sneaks back into the house again. I
Well,
appreciate.
hold on. We
Did I
are
miss
passing
something?
over something
What did
here.
I miss?
Very important.
Oh, Imrul.
Imrul comes back with a
my
chick.
bad. Imrul brings a chick home.
Puts the sombrero on the camera. Classic.
Classy move.
Now, the sombrero falls.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera just immediately, whoop.
Nope.
Nope. We are
Nope.
not. Nope.
Absolutely
not doing
not.
that. But the funny thing is, you can catch like a little bit of audio, and I don't know if it was just the subtitles or if everybody heard
Take
this.
that dress off, lady.
That part. That is what he said. That is what he said. And I am not going to knock his game. Clearly, it works for him. I'm happy for him. That's what
I
he
just
wants.
can't imagine saying that.
No, I can't either. But you could hear her say, "Is this your first night in the house?"
I heard that.
And in this next morning, he says, "Yeah." I think he said it to Danielle, like, "Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have brought that girl
Yeah, I
back."
should have brought her back.
I think he had his first experience with a fan of the show.
Oh, you think?
No,
Oh,
because she referred to it as the house. It's like, is this your
Interesting.
first night in the house?
Bingo.
And like, yeah, look, I mean, I'm not going to fault the guy. It's his first night out in the Hamptons. He's on the show. People do know what the show is.
I mean,
So
they
he's
see
probably walking
they
around
see
like
Danielle and the
yeah,
other
they see
people.
Danielle, they
Carl.
see Carl walking around, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's the Summer House people." And then he introduces himself. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm new on the show. You know, I'm back in the house." And they're like, "Oh my God, you're back at the house? That's so cool." And then he ends up bringing a girl back. So I think he had his first encounter with.
But
a
you
fan.
missed a part of that.
What's that? Take that dress off, lady.
No. No, well, he's explaining the situation. Like, look, I'm very transparent.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be very clear with you right now. This is not going to go any further than like maybe a couple of weekend flings
Yeah.
since you're out here.
At most, a 1-year entanglement.
Yeah.
But there'll be other women involved.
Yeah.
Are you cool? We're cool? Take that dress
Hey,
off,
look,
lady.
you got her a cab at like 3 or 3:19 or whatever time it was.
Well, look, he's an interesting fellow, that's for sure. But let's get back to the morning. Wes sneaks in the house. Good move. I like that. Jesse and Lexi, this is a weird moment too. She's like, "You talk in your sleep." And he's like, "Oh, I did." She's like, "Yeah." You was all like, "I love you." And I was like, "Oh my God."
I don't think
what?
that happened.
I don't think that happened either.
Okay, all right, cool. We're on the same page.
If it did, there'd be camera footage.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that to me, but then what alleviated it a little bit was she was like, I was like, "Thank you." I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we can leave this.
Yeah. If she had taken it a step further, like, "I think I love you too," and left it at that, and if she's dead serious, like,
that would have been
it
different.
would have been a good time for a joke.
Yeah.
It may not have hit because of the
No, that's where the heart-
state of everything.
That's where the heartbreak kid comes back. Love, 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 love.
love. But yeah,
away.
I did not think as soon as she said that, I'm like, that didn't happen.
No, that definitely didn't happen.
Do that to this guy.
But I love that. That's one of like Ben Stiller's probably less viewed movies,
Oh,
and
for
we've
sure,
referenced
yeah.
it. I don't know how many times on the show.
I know.
People probably don't know what that movie is. You give it a whirl. It's actually pretty funny. But Kyle and Amanda, he tried to do what he always does. We always get that like sad puppy dog scene in the middle of the night where he walks in the bedroom on her side and tries to talk to her. She doesn't have it. Kyle go to bed. Then you get this in the morning where he's like, this pissed me off more than anything.
Mhm.
You just put your wife through the fucking ringer, buddy. She had the worst night ever. You fucked with her friendship once again. And then you're going to go into the morning and crawl up to her and go, "I didn't sleep at all last night. I was having anxiety attacks and heart palpitations." Don't pull sympathy from her. Apologize to her
This is where-
and take ownership of your shit, bro. This is fucking,
Yeah.
it's manipulative. It's slimy. It's like, woe is me. Like, dude, grow up.
But this is where Summer House kind of bothers me a little bit.
Hmm.
If this was any other show,
Mhm.
we probably would have immediately had the producers with what you just said about Lexi with Jesse in bed. Oh yeah, there would be footage of that.
Right.
There's probably footage of Kyle sleeping soundly through the night.
Oh, yeah.
And we would have gotten that of him just laying in the exact same position for 6 straight hours on the camera, and then just producers do him dirty. That's what we get in all of these shows.
That's a good point.
But it never happens for Kyle. He
Interesting
has
point.
too much power for this show, which brings to light all of the Hannah stuff. Like when that gets
Yeah, what's
brought
your
up, it's
take?
like
I don't know.
I think he hated her,
I know that.
but I think that it kind of came to a head. Hannah was also like, it seemed like every year that she was there, it was like Luke and like all these guys. Like anytime there was a new guy in the house, like she would be hooking up with them,
Mm.
and then it would inevitably just fall apart. And that's actually why I have PTSD when Ciara's like, "Oh yeah, I kind of like that guy," and like West last year. It's because of Hannah.
The turmoil that
It
comes
was
after.
too much, and then you throw on top of that, she was always fighting with Kyle, just constantly fighting with Kyle, and Kyle was fighting with Amanda all the
She
time.
wasn't
She
like
would call him
widely
out
liked
for it.
back then, was she?
No, I don't think so.
I know
But
she is
I
now
don't
with
really
Dating
know because I
Squad.
wasn't like as much on like that.
Well, she
like,
might
on
not be that
Twitter about
liked
it.
anymore with the fucking Meg Thee Stallion shit. That was bananas.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really cared for her anyway, but I think that there's a chance that he probably did go to producers and was just like, look, we don't have a good rapport in this house right now because of Hannah. So it's either like,
So
I
it
think this
wasn't.
is what
He
happens.
didn't do it, but he influenced
He
it.
probably influenced it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Is
like I
my
said,
take.
you would have more of a take on it than I would, but Amanda says, just go talk to the boys, go talk to Carl. He gives a half-assed apology. It's whatever. And, Paige and Ciara in bed, this is when it, like, bothers me because they're like, I don't even want to go to the beach. Let's go home and get our cats. It's like, guys, like, it's not nighttime, though. Like,
Yeah.
go.
It's not about you.
Go have fun.
It's about us.
Yeah, damn it.
That's what they need to realize. Like
We
at some
wanna
point in
watch
this
fun
show,
stuff.
these shows, you have to realize it is not about you.
Correct.
A lot of times it is about you because it's interesting. This
Yep.
you guys laying in bed and going home early, that's never interesting to us.
It's not. And what you did the night prior is why
Also,
you're so
yeah.
fucking amazing on this show, because you bring moments like that. Like she is an absolute necessary part of this show. In no way, shape, or form am I saying like
No,
get her
not at
into-
all.
But just guys, come on,
No,
go
if,
to the
if
fucking
Paige,
beach.
if Paige left Summer House, I would riot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But like, go to the beach. You know what I mean? Just go to the beach. But Danielle and Lindsay are in the kitchen and they're talking about Imrul brought a lady home last night, and then Lindsay rats out West.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, West's bed was empty last night, and then Amanda walks in. Danielle is, for some reason, very upset that West went out without her
Yeah.
and didn't like contact them later in the night because she's like, oh, so you went to go hang out with the other friends? It's like bone zone, no bone zone.
Well, I actually kind of get Danielle
Okay.
in this moment because imagine going with like, yeah, Carl was there. Carl's great, but he's not drinking. He's not like bopping around and doing all these things. He's probably just kind of like having a good time, and then he's gonna go home.
Are you explaining me right now when I go out?
No. Imrul is bopping.
Imrul is he's out.
He's checking in every once in a while. He strikes me as a guy that just comes back every once in a while. He's like, hey, you guys all right?
He's in the
Everybody all right?"
constant circle.
He probably is always, every time that he comes back, like, hey, do you need a drink? Like, I'll go grab you one because he's a good dude. But he's always on the move.
Yeah, he's on the circuit.
So if you're Danielle there, you're like, fuck, like,
Okay.
yeah, like Carl's fun, but like, where's West? Like,
All right.
let's have more fun. West
right.
isn't here.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I
I'm
will.
not usually on Danielle's side, but
no,
this time
I will accept that.
Yeah.
That breakdown. That was good. But West definitely hooked up. He acknowledges it in the confessional. Again, he's allowed to.
Mhm.
I'm glad he was a gentleman about it. Took it out of the house. That was good. Imrul comes back up. Hey, brought a girl home last night, and then Imrul joins and shouldn't have brought that girl home.
Yeah. Love that.
Great, perfect. Kyle still wants to leave. At this point, fucking let him go. Who cares?
Mhm.
But Kyle and Amanda have a conversation, and these apologize for making things awkward between her and Paige, and Amanda emphasizes what we're all screaming at the TV. You keep putting emphasis on Paige.
Yep.
This is not her fault. This is 1000% your fault on issues that have nothing to do with Paige. Your issue, once again, for the umpteenth time, is with Craig, and your issue is with Hannah.
Mhm.
Just text Paige and say you're fucking sorry. Go have a conversation with Paige and just say you're sorry. But she understands where he's at, like only knowing how he operates. And
Yeah.
I love that she didn't back down on this one. She's like, you don't need to always get people to see your side. Like that doesn't have to happen to be able to move forward from things, because we know Paige well enough to know that she will not pick a side.
Yeah.
If you keep pushing her, she might pick Hannah's side, but she won't do that because she knows that would floor Amanda. So she will maintain Switzerland forever. You're the problem, dude. Stop.
Yeah. Figure it out.
And like your wife, her poor Amanda, like the fact that she just sit
know.
there in the morning and deal with this shit is so dumb. But we get the ride to the beach. Everyone's going on a beach day. I'm excited about beach day. So we're going to beach
Always get
day.
one good beach day.
Always get a solid beach day in there. And I'm glad that Jesse brought it up because he gets in the car without Lexi.
Yeah.
Brings it up to a very, very reasonable group of people. I think this is a good crew in this
Yeah.
car to fire this off.
I like
of.
the Paige breaks the ice asking if he had separation anxiety.
Yeah, right.
Like,
She
that
starts
could
it
be
off.
true. It's not just a joke.
No, it could be a real thing. And he's like, I'm thinking of talking to Lexi about sort of where we're at. And I'm concerned that she's a jealous person. Paige is like, well, how? So, well, she told me. It's like,
Okay.
we'll do it. So we know that she's jealous. But he explains more. And this is always a red flag for me. It's like, if you can't talk about your exes, and I'm not saying you have to bring them up frequently, but if you can't have a conversation about a past relationship that is no longer a thing,
Yeah.
just if you're like telling a story, whatever. Like, I always think that's an issue.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be that jealous that you can't hear about the fact that they have a life before you. And then the other thing is commenting on the pictures, which I can see both sides of this one. I mean, on one hand, that's just Jesse Solomon. That's
Yeah, it's a shtick at this point. It's a bit that he's been doing since he's been on the show.
I could also see, if you're dating somebody, that rubbing them the wrong way.
Sure.
Because you're commenting on women's pictures, how hot they are. So I can see
Not
both
everybody can be so confident that they don't care about
right.
that.
So I understand that one a little bit. But he brings it up, like, there is this extreme attraction between the two of us, and we like each other enough to explore. I think the way he breaks this down is exactly what he needs to say to her.
Right.
There's this extreme attraction. We like each other enough to explore it, but I don't want it to blow up. I don't want the house to blow up. I don't want things between us to blow up. And I think that that's literally all you have to say to Lexi. Hey, I like you a lot. Here's the things that concern me. This concerns me, might blow up. I am a flirtatious person. I like to joke with my friends with the comments. There needs to be some middle ground here.
Right. And we know for a fact, based on the trailer from the beginning of the season, that it does eventually blow up.
Yep.
We don't know if he has that conversation with her. If he has the conversation with her and it blows up, then you can go to her and be like, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Right.
This is what I don't want. And it's with Ciara. It's like, clearly I don't want to date Ciara.
They're leading us to believe that it's about
At least,
Ciara.
yeah, that's what we think at this point. It could be anybody, who knows? But if she blows up over something that they talked about, then it's like, all right, look, we talked about this.
We had this conversation.
If it's not going to work and it's not going to vibe, we do need to cut it off now before it becomes a bigger problem.
Right.
Fair. If he doesn't have the conversation,
Very different story.
which is very possible that he just completely skirts the conversation, or he has a conversation that makes him feel better, but he doesn't address those things,
Perhaps.
which is also a possibility, then it's still on you.
Yep.
It's not on her because she's still been upfront.
Yep.
Until you have the conversation, it's not an even playing field.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree because she's been honest.
Mm-hmm.
You have been not dishonest, but you've been buying into it, and now you're realizing, ooh, shit. So for the last time, conversation needs to happen this weekend or this week before you return to the summer house for you to still be in the clear.
Yes.
If not, I will probably side with Lexi.
Correct.
Now let's get to some questions.
And we do see at the very, very, very end, looks like Kyle and Paige are going to have a
yeah, correct. Yeah,
That's it.
Kyle and Paige.
We don't see the chat, and then we get scenes from next week and all of that. So
But that's before, the point here before we get into questions, if he just goes over and it calmly addresses it, even after the shit show that last night was, she will still be mellow and talk it out with you because that's just who she is. So I hope he doesn't fuck this one up.
Right.
Now let's get to some questions.
From Lauren 3D. Have you or would you guys ever do a gender reveal? If yes, how would you do the reveal?
No. Shooter told you guys how Dev revealed to him that we were having a baby. She literally goes, look at this, and handed him the sonogram.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we would never do it.
No.
It's just not.
Do you, boo-boo?
Yeah, do whatever you want. I just, I get to think how I want to think.
I also can't wait. I'm too impatient. Like, if the doctor's like, we know, I'm like, tell me.
Oh, this is actually kind of funny because I did see this from Amanda K. Stanton. Did you guys have Jesse Solomon dropping a single on your 2025 bingo card? It doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck.
No, he's a very good singer. He's very talented. And, I mean, it wasn't not on there. Like, it's not that surprising he's making music. He's talented.
Yeah.
He's the songbird of our generation. Where you been?
From Sarah_D. Do we think Amanda will have to one day choose between her friendships and Kyle?
I just don't know if it's gonna happen, man. Like, I really want her businesses, like whatever ideas I know she's doing something with swimwear. I want her shit to take off and just get so focused on her own stuff that she gets to a point where it's like, Kyle, this is my life. Get on board or go fuck yourself. Like it's not even about the friends. It's about, I want her to realize like the potential she has. Like she's so capable of crushing it because of who she is and who she has been on this show. That's what I would like for her.
Yeah. This is a funny question from Jamie Gibbs. What's faster, Lindsay moving on from Carl or how quickly Paige turned around when Kyle called her two-faced?
I don't know if there's a response there, but
I think Lindsay and Carl.
Probably Lindsay.
Still, that's got to be the fastest thing that's ever happened.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like the whole situation and the fact that they're handling it as well as they are is commendable.
Yeah, for sure. From It's Clarissa CA. I got 3 of them here. I'm going to pick the best one. This is kind of fun. Rate everybody's business acumen from best to worst. Who's got businesses? I mean, Carl's got his Sober Bar.
Soft bar.
We've got Loverboy. We've got Giggly Squad, and other ventures that Paige is doing. I'm sure there's probably a couple more in the. I don't know. I would say, I mean, out of those three, it's pretty tough. I would say right now it looks like Paige is the best. Because
Paige
she's just,
won.
She at least has like people advising her in the best way.
Danielle's got her app.
Oh yeah,
Um,
about her.
Danielle's got the app.
Get ready with Danny.
It's
Was it the closet app?
no, it's like you can go in there
It's an
and
outfit
shop.
app, isn't it?
No, you can buy clothes on there though. Like
Oh,
it'll,
okay.
or it'll take all of your.
I thought it was like inventory.
From what I understand of it, I believe it inventories your closet to put outfits
Yeah.
together, but you can also purchase clothes that you see from other people on there.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but
I'm gonna say it probably goes
Paige won.
Kyle.
2.
I've got Kyle too, just because like he actually has an
He has-
established business. I'll probably throw Carl in 3 and then Danielle in 4.
But that's impossible to say.
Yeah, I
Who
don't
knows? Who really knows? I don't fucking know.
Who knows? But yeah, that's all I got over here.
Well, next week should be a good episode. There's a lot on the table that they need to get to. I'm curious. There's a lot of powder kegs sprinkled about the summer house, and
There sure is.
we got a lot of sparks flying. So
There sure
something's going to
is.
be set off, so you can feel it. You can always. That's the thing with summer house. You can always feel it on the horizon.
Oh yeah.
And I'm feeling a squall, Captain.
You feeling a squall?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You got anything else?
Nope. That's all I got.
That's our show, bros. Gotta go.